All right, so today let's dive into something that, on the surface at least, might seem a little cheesy.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're talking about Mel Robbins's high five habit, you know?
I've heard of that.
Yeah, literally high-fiving yourself
No.
in the mirror every morning.
Interesting.
I know it sounds a bit out there, right?
Yeah.
But trust me,
Okay.
once you understand the science behind it,
Mm-hmm.
you might be surprised by the potential impact.
Okay.
Especially for someone like you who's always eager to, you know, understand the why behind things.
Yeah, what's intriguing about this is it taps into the power of seemingly insignificant actions
Right.
to influence our subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about a fleeting feeling of positivity.
Yeah.
This is about potentially rewiring our neural pathways
Okay.
for a more resilient and compassionate mindset.
So where does this idea even come from?
Good question.
Well, Mel Robbins, a successful motivational speaker,
Right.
stumbled upon this technique
That's-
during a particularly difficult period in her life.
It's often in those moments of struggle that we're most open to trying new things.
Exactly.
Almost like we're forced to
Yeah.
step outside our comfort zones and experiment
Right.
with the unconventional.
And the core concept is surprisingly simple.
Okay.
Each morning, right after brushing your teeth,
Mm-hmm.
you high-five your reflection in the mirror.
Really?
Now I can already hear you wondering,
Yeah.
how could something this simple
Right.
actually make a difference?
Yeah.
But before you dismiss it,
Okay.
let's explore what Mel Robbins discovered about
Yeah.
the effects.
One of the key principles at play here
Yeah,
is the concept of neurobics.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's essentially about shaking things up in your brain,
Oh, okay.
giving it a jolt of novelty.
Mm-hmm.
When we combine an unexpected physical action,
Okay.
like the high five,
Yeah,
with a positive thought or intention,
right.
we force our brain to create new neural connections.
I love that analogy of shaking things up. And it reminds me, Mel Robbins talks about
Oh, yeah?
how awkward
Right.
and even silly she felt doing it at first.
Okay.
But she was determined to stick with it
Right.
because, frankly, she was desperate for a change.
Wow. What were some of the benefits
That
that she
was-
noticed?
One of the first things she experienced
Yep.
was a noticeable decrease in her inner critic.
Oh, wow.
You know, that voice we all have
Mhm.
that loves to point out our flaws.
Right. Right.
She also described feeling a surge of energy
Oh, interesting.
and a boost in her mood.
Okay.
Even on mornings that would typically be tough.
Hmm.
Do you think that sounds too good to be true?
Well,
Or could there be something to this idea
I don't know.
of tricking our brains into positivity?
I'm definitely intrigued.
Okay.
And I know you have a knack for connecting the dots
Uh-huh.
between science and behavior.
Okay.
Could this have anything to do with dopamine,
Oh,
that
yeah.
neurotransmitter,
That's a good thought.
linked to reward and motivation? You're on the right track.
Okay.
The high five likely triggers
Yeah.
a release of dopamine in the brain,
Okay.
which creates those feelings of pleasure
Mhm.
and motivation.
And you, as someone interested in the why behind things,
Right.
might find it fascinating that this isn't just a fleeting feeling.
Right.
Dopamine plays a crucial role
Yeah.
in habit formation.
Exactly.
By consistently linking this action with a positive feeling,
Mm-hmm.
we might be hacking our brain's reward system,
Right.
making it easier to cultivate a more positive mindset.
That's right.
So it's not just about a temporary mood lift.
Right.
It's about potentially rewiring our brains
Exactly.
for long-term change.
The long-term change. Yeah.
But was this just a temporary fix for Mel Robbins, or did she see lasting benefits?
She actually described how over time,
Okay.
her default mindset became more positive
Oh, wow.
and resilient.
Okay.
Challenges started to feel more like opportunities.
Interesting.
And bouncing back from setbacks became easier.
Okay.
It's as though she was training her brain to focus on the positive,
Right.
making it less susceptible to negativity.
This is where I think we start to see the real power of
Yeah.
this seemingly silly habit.
That is powerful.
But it wasn't just Mel Robbins who experienced these benefits, right?
That's right.
Her husband, Chris,
Yeah.
also incorporated the high five into his routine.
He did.
What was his story?
Well, Chris was secretly battling
Yeah.
a lot of shame and self-blame,
Mm-hmm.
stemming from a past business failure.
Oh, wow.
This simple act of high-fiving himself each morning
Okay.
became a way for him to confront those negative feelings and begin to heal.
Interesting.
He started to shift his perspective
Mm-hmm.
from seeing himself as a failure
Right.
to recognizing his resilience
Yeah.
and strengths.
Mm.
Do you think this resonates with you at all?
Well,
Have you ever struggled with
Sure.
similar feelings of self-doubt
Yeah.
or negativity?
It's amazing how such a simple act could be a gateway to addressing deeper-rooted feelings of self-doubt and shame.
It is.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
is there scientific evidence to support this idea?
You know, there actually is.
Really?
There's one compelling study that comes from the field of sports psychology.
Interesting.
Researchers found that NBA teams with the most high fives,
Oh, wow.
fist bumps, and physical encouragement during the preseason
Yeah.
actually performed better throughout the entire season.
So it's not just about individual motivation. It's about fostering a sense of connection
Right.
and support within a group.
Precisely, those physical gestures create a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose.
Yeah,
It's a nonverbal way of saying, we're in this together.
I like that.
And that sense of belonging is crucial for our well-being,
Right.
whether it's on a team or within ourselves.
Makes you wonder if, by high-fiving ourselves,
Yeah.
we're essentially cultivating that sense of support and encouragement internally, becoming our own biggest cheerleader.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that internal shift can have a ripple effect
Uh-huh.
on how we handle challenges,
Okay.
how we interact with others,
Yeah.
and how we perceive our own potential.
Now, going back to the science for a moment, I remember Mel Robbins talked about the role of dopamine
Yeah.
in this process.
Right.
Can you remind us how that plays into
Absolutely.
the effectiveness of the high five habit?
So you see, giving someone a high five
Yeah.
and even receiving one triggers a release of dopamine in the brain,
Okay.
which is associated with pleasure and reward.
Right.
It's like giving ourselves a little dose
Yeah.
of positive reinforcement.
And knowing your interest in optimizing your performance.
Yeah.
The dopamine aspect of this technique might particularly intrigue you.
It's really interesting.
It definitely does. And it makes me think about the potential applications for people who struggle with low dopamine levels.
Right.
Perhaps due to conditions like ADHD. Could this be a tool for them to naturally boost their dopamine and improve focus?
It's certainly an interesting avenue to explore.
Right.
While more research is needed,
Yeah.
the idea of using simple actions like the high five to positively influence brain chemistry is fascinating.
It's amazing how something so simple could potentially have such a profound impact
I know, it's amazing.
on our neurobiology.
Yeah.
No, I know some people might be listening to this thinking,
Yeah.
okay, but does a high five really change everything?
Right.
Sounds almost too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to those skeptics?
Well, I understand the skepticism.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural to question these seemingly simple solutions,
Right.
but I think it's important to remember that our brains are incredibly complex.
Right.
Small actions can have a ripple effect,
Yeah.
triggering a cascade of changes over time.
Okay.
It's not about overnight transformation,
Right.
but about consistently reinforcing positive patterns.
So it's about building a foundation for change,
That's a good way to put it.
brick by brick,
Yeah,
high five by high five.
I like that.
And Mel Robbins does share quite a few anecdotes in her book
She does.
about the transformative power of this habit.
Right.
One story that stands out
Oh, yeah.
is about a woman struggling with severe anxiety and depression.
Oh, wow.
She felt lost and hopeless,
Oh, no.
but she decided to commit to the high five habit
Oh.
for just 5 days.
Wow.
What happened?
Yeah.
Did she notice a difference?
She described a gradual but profound shift.
Interesting.
She started to quiet her inner critic
Mm-hmm.
and felt more energized.
Okay.
Most importantly, she began to believe in herself again.
Wow.
It wasn't a magic cure,
Right?
but a starting point for reclaiming her power.
That's a powerful reminder that even when we're in a dark place,
It is.
even the smallest actions
Right.
can spark a glimmer of hope.
Exactly.
But it's not just about overcoming adversity, is it?
It's not.
Mel Robbins also suggests that this habit can help us achieve our goals and live more fulfilling lives.
Absolutely. It's about shifting our mindset from one of scarcity
Okay.
and self-doubt
Yeah.
to one of abundance and possibility.
Right.
By consistently celebrating ourselves,
Yeah.
we start to internalize the message that we are worthy and capable.
I love that shifting from scarcity to abundance.
Yeah.
And it ties into something else Mel Robbins discusses,
Right.
this backwards belief that we need to achieve something
Yeah.
in order to be worthy of celebration.
It's like we're constantly chasing external validation
Right.
instead of recognizing our inherent worth.
Yeah.
This can lead to a never-ending cycle of striving into satisfaction.
But the high five habit flips the script.
Flips the script. I like that.
It's about celebrating ourselves
Yeah,
for simply showing up, for trying our best, for being who we are.
that's a good point.
Do you think that resonates with you?
It absolutely does. It's about finding joy and fulfillment
Yeah.
in the present moment,
Right.
rather than constantly postponing happiness
Mhm.
until we reach some arbitrary milestone.
And it makes me think about the impact this could have
Yeah.
on our overall well-being,
Yeah.
especially in a world that constantly tells us we need to be more,
I know, right?
do more, achieve more.
It's exhausting.
Imagine the freedom that comes from releasing that pressure.
Oh my gosh, I know.
It allows us to tap into a sense of peace and contentment
Yeah,
that isn't contingent on external factors.
that's a good point.
Now, I know Mel Robbins also talks about the power of stacking habits.
Yes.
How could someone incorporate the high five habit with other positive practices to amplify its effects?
That's a fantastic strategy.
Yeah.
Imagine combining the high five with something like gratitude journaling
Okay.
or meditation.
Right.
It creates a synergistic effect,
Yeah.
boosting the benefits of each practice.
It's like weaving a tapestry of positivity,
I like that.
each thread reinforcing the others.
Each thread reinforcing the others, yeah.
And it brings to mind the idea of creating a morning routine that sets the tone for the entire day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The beauty is that anyone can do this.
Yeah.
Anywhere, anytime.
It's true.
It's a low-cost, high-impact strategy
Yeah.
for improving well-being.
But let's be realistic.
Okay.
Some people might try this
Yeah.
and feel silly or awkward at first.
Right.
What advice would you give to someone
Well-
who's hesitant to high-five themselves in the mirror?
Embrace the awkwardness.
I love that.
Remember, anything new can feel strange at first,
Right?
but like any skill,
Yeah.
it takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
Commit to trying it for just 5 days,
Yeah.
as Mel Robbins suggests.
Right.
See how you feel.
It's a low-risk experiment with potentially huge rewards.
Exactly.
And who knows, you might even find yourself cracking a smile in the process.
Absolutely. And remember,
Yeah.
you can personalize this practice.
Oh, okay.
Add a positive affirmation,
Mm-hmm.
visualize your goals,
Yeah, okay.
or simply focus on feeling gratitude.
Okay.
Make it your own.
It's about tailoring it to fit your individual needs. And preferences.
And preferences, yeah.
Now, I know you're great at connecting the dots and seeing the bigger picture.
Boy.
So let's step back for a moment.
Okay.
What does this high five habit tell us about self-love, self-compassion,
That's a great question.
and the power of our minds to shape our reality?
Well, I think it highlights the fact that self-love isn't a passive state of being.
Mm-hmm.
It's an active choice we make every day.
It's about showing up for ourselves
Yeah.
even when we don't feel like it.
Precisely. It's about treating ourselves
Yeah,
with the same kindness and compassion we would offer a loved one.
it's a good point.
And high five habit is a physical embodiment
Right.
of that commitment to self-care.
It's a reminder that we are worthy of love and support,
We are.
regardless of our flaws
Yes.
or imperfections.
You got it.
And it speaks to the power of our minds
Right.
to influence our reality.
It does.
By consistently reinforcing positive thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors, we can literally reprogram our brains
We
for
can.
happiness, success, and fulfillment.
We really can.
It's about taking control of our inner narrative
Yeah.
and choosing a more empowering story.
Choosing a more empowering story, exactly.
And that's such an important message,
It is.
especially in a world that often bombards us with negativity.
I know, it's so true.
It reminds us that we have agency,
We do.
that we are not simply victims of circumstance.
Right. We have the power to choose our thoughts,
Yes.
our actions,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately our experience.
Now let's push the boundaries a bit.
Okay. I like where this is going.
What if we took this concept of the high five habit
Yeah.
and applied it to other areas of our lives?
I love that question.
Yeah.
Imagine using the high five to celebrate accomplishments,
Okay.
big or small,
Right.
or to motivate ourselves when we're feeling discouraged.
Or even to build stronger relationships
Yeah.
by offering high fives as a gesture of support and encouragement
Upset.
to those around us.
It's about taking this simple act
Yeah.
of celebration and empowerment
Right.
and integrating it into every aspect of our lives.
And I think that's a beautiful vision.
It is beautiful.
The world where we are constantly acknowledging and appreciating ourselves and others.
I love that.
A world where we're all cheering each other on
Yeah.
and celebrating our collective journey.
That's a world I want to live in.
Me too. Now,
Yeah.
before we wrap up,
Okay.
I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier
Yeah.
about the break in belonging that often happens around age 8, 10.
Right. Mel Robbins talks about how this is when we can become self-conscious and
Right.
start editing ourselves to fit in.
Right.
It's like we lose touch with our authentic selves
Yeah.
in an attempt to gain acceptance from others.
And that can have a profound impact
They can.
on our self-esteem and our sense of worth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that this break in belonging
Yeah.
doesn't just happen once.
It's true.
It can happen throughout our lives.
Right.
Whenever we find ourselves in new environments
Mm.
or facing new challenges.
It's like we're constantly negotiating our sense of self
Right.
in relation to the world around us.
In relation to the world around us, yeah.
And the high five habit can be a powerful tool
Yeah.
for navigating these transitions and for reclaiming our sense of belonging,
It's so true.
both within ourselves
Yeah.
and within the larger community.
Exactly.
It's about remembering that we are worthy of love and acceptance,
Right.
regardless of external validation.
That's a great point.
And that's a message that we all need to hear,
We do.
no matter what stage of life we're in.
No matter what stage of life we're in, that's right. Now, I know you're someone who likes to ask thought-provoking questions.
Oh, I do. I do.
So what are some questions that listeners can ask themselves
Okay.
to deepen their understanding of this concept and to apply it to their own lives?
Well, I think a great starting point is to ask yourself,
Yeah.
what are some of the ways that I reject or criticize myself on a daily basis? It's about becoming aware of those negative thought patterns that we often take for granted.
That's right, those negative thought patterns we just take for granted.
And then we can ask ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
what would it look like to offer myself more compassion and kindness in those moments?
It's about replacing self-judgment with self-acceptance.
And another powerful question is,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that I'm truly grateful for in my life?
Shifting our focus from what's wrong to what's right.
And finally, we can ask ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of my dreams and aspirations?
Yeah.
And what steps can I take to start moving towards them?
It's about empowering ourselves to create the life we want.
And the high five habit can be a powerful catalyst
It can.
for this journey of self-discovery and transformation.
That's right.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on to our final thoughts,
Okay.
I want to highlight one more really important point that Mel Robbins makes.
Oh, yeah.
She talks about the ripple effect of self-love. She explains that when we learn to love and accept ourselves,
Yeah.
it has a positive impact on every relationship in our lives.
It's like our inner transformation radiates outwards,
Yeah.
creating a more loving and harmonious world.
And this is so true,
I
right?
think so true.
When we feel good about ourselves, we're more likely to treat others with kindness,
Absolutely.
respect, and compassion.
Kindness, respect, and compassion. Yeah.
And when we're secure in our own worth,
right.
we don't feel the need to put others down or to seek validation from them.
I don't.
It's like self-love is the foundation for healthy and fulfilling relationships.
Yes.
Both with ourselves and with others.
With ourselves and with others. That's right.
And it all starts with that simple act of high-fiving ourselves in the mirror every morning.
I love that.
It's amazing how such a small gesture can have such a profound impact on our lives and on the world around us.
And that's the power of choosing love.
Yeah.
Both for ourselves and for others.
It really does make you rethink the power of seemingly small gestures.
It does.
It's like that saying,
Yeah.
you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
If we want to show up for others, we need to start by showing up for ourselves.
And that's what I find so compelling about the high five habit.
Yeah.
It's a tangible,
Right.
actionable way to nourish ourselves from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a practice that anyone can incorporate,
Right.
regardless of their background or beliefs.
Yeah. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay?
I want to leave you with a final thought-provoking question.
Right.
What if, by simply incorporating this high five habit
Mm-hmm.
into your morning routine,
Yeah.
you could unlock greater confidence, resilience, and happiness?
It might sound like a stretch,
Yeah.
but as we've explored today,
Mm-hmm.
the science suggests that this seemingly insignificant action
Right.
can have a ripple effect on how we think, feel, and behave.
It's a small experiment with potentially huge rewards.
It's huge rewards. Yeah.
And the beauty is
Yeah.
there's nothing to lose by trying it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I encourage you to give it a go for just a few days and see how it feels.
Yeah.
Pay attention to any shifts in your mood,
Okay.
your energy levels, and your inner dialogue.
Right.
You might be surprised by what you discover.
And remember, this isn't about becoming someone you're not.
Right.
It's about rediscovering the amazing person you already are,
Yeah.
embracing your strengths, celebrating your journey,
Yeah.
and living a life that's authentically you.
So go ahead, step out of your comfort zone
Yeah.
and high-five your way to a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life.
I love it. We'll be here cheering you on every step of the way.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been fun.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep high-fiving.